G'day everybody, it's Footy Talk with the world-famous Wado, Woodsy and the not-so-well-famous Maroon. How are you, boys?
Good, mate. Yeah, real good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm absolutely
You
fantastic.
know what? I just can't take you serious in the main seat today.
Why, mate?
You just look a bit weird. Like
How? In what way?
your little melon just popping over the thing.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you got the mad microphone just tucked away.
We're in the new studio downstairs, so it's cool. But that cologne you're wearing is it a new
it's hitting me in the
studio
face.
smell, or is the Old Spice? You know, it's only supposed to be like a couple of squirts.
It's that.
He's been hanging around Mark
Mate.
Carroll too much. They go half a bottle.
Luke Brooks, it would seem, as according to Dean Ritchie and Buzz Rothfield, Luke Brooks is going to sign with Manly this week on probably a 3-year deal, and that's probably a great get for Manly. Certainly gives them a couple of great halves. You know him so well, so talk us through it, Woodsy.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing for Manly. He's obviously, he's played his best footy as a 5'8" as well. You've got Daly Cherry Evans there. It's going to be a halfback. Tommy Turbo, obviously, is going to be fully fit, hopefully. He's having his pec surgery, I think, today. And then he'll be right come pre-season, so they'll be able to work on their combination. But it's another good signing for Manly within pressure and spots, because you got young Schuster there. He's played a bit of the back row in the past, especially that year. If you remember the year when Tommy Turbo was on fire, 2021, Schuster was on the left edge. He was playing back row, so and they had Foran in the halves. So it just creates opportunity for spots. Brooksy's a left-hand side player, left footer, left kick. So it's a pretty good combination that it does create for Manly. And speaking of Siebes today, and he's quite keen on having both of them in there, Schuster and Brooks. It's not like he's coming in to push Schuster out and make sure he leaves the club. They're all there, and they're players that he wants at the club for the future.
Yeah, from my perspective, I don't know. Look, I don't have the relationship that Woodsy obviously has with Luke Brooks, but I think it's a good move for him. I thought when he knocked back the Tigers and the decision he wanted to change, there's no doubt it's been a tough slog for him, and I wasn't sure if he was going to pursue an NRL deal or possibly go overseas, because he's got a young family and maybe the time was right just to have a big change in life and get out of the pressure cooker of the NRL. But I think it's a great move from him. Obviously, with Daly Cherry Evans there and as the number one halfback, he's going to take all that pressure off him, and he'll be able to just get in there and play his role and be a great foil for him. And there's no doubt he's still got some good footy left in him. So I think he's a great signing from Manly, and we could see some of his best footy that we know he can offer, because when you do have that change of scenery, I don't know whether it's different styles or it just freshens you up, So Brooksy, I can see him being an outstanding signing next year for Manly, and Woodsy's going to obviously have a first-hand look at it.
No, I think the other thing that's good as well, he's not going to go there with so much pressure on his back. Like, he's got that $1 million tag on his head. He's gone there. He's just going to be a normal player in the top 30 squad. You've got the likes of the Turbo brothers in Jakey and Tom that, they're our marquee men, and Cherry. So they're the big dogs. He's got to learn how to play with them. And the times where Brooksy has played his best footy is when he's had a dominant half around him. He got the halfback of the year that year, but he had Benji there. And Benji's like having a coach on the field at that period of time. He knew where he was at in his career. He's a lot of senior, and he really did help Brooksy out. And that's where Cherry is at the moment. Cherry knows the best parts of his game. He's a really good leader. And it gives Brooksy the opportunity just to run. His first thought can be run. And that's what's been so good before he did his hamstring in the last few weeks. So I think it's a huge move. And like you said, Wade, I'm happy he's staying in the NRL. I'm glad, I'd like to see him be a one-club player at Tigers, but I think he needs to get out. There's so much scrutiny on him there. Tigers win, the team goes good. Tigers loses on Brooksy's back. So I'm so happy he's gone out. He's going to create an opportunity for himself. He's so balanced in his home life now. He's got a fiance. They're going to get married at the end of the year. He's got a young daughter. So it's going to be a huge opportunity for him. I think he'll really relish from it.
And it's not the first time Manly have signed a former West Tigers player whose best years were behind him. So,
That's it, yeah. So they turn him into superstars over there.
But it's good in a sense, though, from I just want to make an observation that this is the first time in probably 25 years two things have come from absolutely nowhere. We've had this happen. We've had the Gold Coast Titans coach,
unbelievable,
Justin
isn't it?
Holbrook.
That was unbelievable.
Just out of nowhere.
Do you reckon that comes because they're privately owned? Like, if any other club with the board and all that get involved in every decision, they like to have their people that they like to sling things to. But the way that they've handled it up in the Gold Coast, I think everyone's jaw hit the ground. Yeah. It was absolutely remarkable how, one of the boys at Manly said, Des is signed with the Titans. I said, you're kidding. Next thing you look on your social media page and it's all over there. I honestly I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Oh, I think anyway.
Couldn't tell you a secret because next thing you know, it's out straight away.
What about you, mate? You're always on social media. I mean, the bloke in here you can't tell a secret is Dell. I mean, if you want to get word out there, don't put it in the paper.
Just say to him, just quietly, Dell. And then next thing you know, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Time to talk about my beloved Bunnies. Now, look, since May 19, they've been beaten by Parramatta, Raiders, Dragons, and the Cowboys. Every one of these teams has scored 30 plus. Even the game they won, the Titans scored 28. So with Latrell out, we're just wondering, I mean, I'm throwing this open. I don't think this, but are the Rabbitohs without Latrell a little bit like Manly have been in the past without Tom Trbojevic? Because, I mean, it is getting serious now. They have lost 4 games since May 19 and let the opposition score 30 or more points. Am I overreacting, or is it time to really have this discussion?
I think you're overreacting a
Right,
little bit. Yeah,
okay.
Just because, obviously Latrell's been out, but it hasn't just been Latrell.
Jai Arrow.
Jai Arrow. Cody's been in and out with
Tommy
injuries.
Burgess.
Tommy Burgess, Cook, Murray have been in and out of Origin. That's 3 or 4 out of your spine. It's always going to be hard. And young Ilias, I know he's in. He's still learning. He's a great player, but he's still learning to get the team around the park when you're missing some players, particularly your spine. That's your communication. That's your cohesion. That they execute game plan. So obviously it's been defensive woes, but if your attack complements your defense and your defense complements your attack, they go hand in hand. If you're not getting one done, it puts pressure on the other. So I think they're more than confident in the footy they can produce. They showed that early on during the year, the type of team they are when they are firing all cylinders. And to be honest, every team goes through a little slump or a bad patch throughout the year. You look at the start of the year, the Panthers didn't start off on fire. Everyone was questioning their credentials, and now they're the best defensive team average by a country mile. Right? So they're hitting their gears. And then, Broncos obviously flew out of the gates, and now they've had a few little issues around Origin as well. So every team has these setbacks and these periods throughout the year. It's just about trying to manage it the best you can, and to make sure you're in a position when you come out of the other side of it, you're in decent enough shape.
Yeah.
And you're in good position when you run, obviously, to the business end of the season.
Yeah. You got to look, a lot of the players, like you said, Cody Walker's huge for them, and so is Latrell. The other thing that a lot of people don't, they've only had one bye. And they were the last team to have a bye along with Broncos. So they've had a really long start to the season. I know other sides have had 3 byes before when they've had 1. So they've been able to rest players around that period where their back end, they're going to have 2 byes. So I think they got a bye just after game 3, and they're going to have one. I think they've got either the second last round or last round.
Yeah,
so they can
second last round.
If they can get a few wins under the belt, rest a few players there going in the semi-finals, it's going to help them in the background. But like what I said, it's just that they've had their tough period already. They've gone through a couple injuries. You look at the Broncos, this 6-week period of Origin, Maroon, it's so tough. Like, not just physically on your body, mentally, it's such a draining period. Like, they're up so high for that 10-day camp. They come back down when they're back at club level. Not that they want to, but it's just, the atmosphere around you. There's no build-up. Like, you're coming back to play at Accor Stadium now. Yeah, Accor now. They change the name every year. So it's...
Like you change clubs every
year. That's it. Not as often, but,
to be fair, but they've had a tough run. They've had Penrith twice, Melbourne twice, Broncos twice,
and they've beat a lot of them too.
Cowboys actually have started to hit some form, so just on the weekend. So I think you're going a little bit too early, and they have had some difficulty with their team. And
if this was happening leading into the semis, I'd be a little bit worried, but it's not. Like, Latrell, the good thing about it as well, he's taking the full time. Like, he's not getting rushed back. Yeah. He's going to have that back end of the year flying. Hopefully he doesn't have any injuries going into that. Cody Walker was first game back on the week. Yeah, he was a little bit dusty, but he's going to be like that. A couple of weeks off. They'll be right, Maroon. I reckon they'll be sweet.
I hope so. Round 21, I believe Latrell will be back. So
was it round 21? Jeez, that's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, but these calves...
They're different now, aren't they?
It depends where you get it, because Nico had the same issue. Nico missed all of, almost the whole preseason because of this one calf injury.
Luke Brooks had the same thing at Tigers.
It's just how it heals. If it's on the side, I think, close to the ligament, it can heal.
Do you remember?
Not scar up, right?
Remember Matty Moreland had one?
Yeah, he had one for ages.
He had one like nearly 18 months.
Yeah,
and people don't understand what they go through behind the scenes. Like, it can really restrict you.
But and the worry is, even if you think you're 100%. They got a high rate of reoccurrence. Yep. So if you come out and reoccur it, it's almost starting.
Well, that happened with Jake Trbojevic this year.
Starting back at square one. So you need to be cautious with it and make sure you really are ready to go and you're conditioned to go again.
Well, so Jake Trbojevic felt good after 2 weeks. We played him, and that was when he redid it. So now he's had the whole 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, guys. Sad news in Origin last week. Obviously, everyone's across it now that Tommy Trbojevic has done a pec.
Break my heart, Maroon.
Yeah, and he'll be gone for the season.
Yep.
On a personal level, I just feel so sorry for Tom. He's had he's had every injury you can get.
Poor bloke.
And let's talk about from your point of view,
yep,
as a part of the NRL, the Manly squad.
Yep.
How is that going to impact the team?
Oh, firstly, when I was watching the Origin, I was that excited. He's hit a bit of form as of late, Tommy, as well, leading into that game. We had the Dolphins game where, I think we put 58 points on him and he was flying. And in just that first 3 minutes, mate, just watching it wasn't like your normal pec injury one as well, where the arm's sort of hanging out.
I actually thought it was his shoulder.
Yeah, I thought it was his shoulder as well, and the one that he hurt last year. And then you sort of, I think we spoke off airway, you see him look at Mitch Moses and go, mate, that's me pec, I've done it. And it's like, oh, no, poor bloke. And then from that moment, it just made me frustrated watching the Origin, although I was still supporting the Blues and I thought they would win. But, geez, and then you think about the repercussions for us as Manly, you take out Turbo of our squad, a lot of people just start questioning, man, I got some text message off your mate, there's your season done now. And, such a valuable part of our squad. It's not just what he brings on the field, it's, it's just the presence he has there and he makes players around him better. But he's been awesome, obviously he's having his surgery today. He come down to Melbourne with us. He's just in and around the group. He's given a lot of confidence to Ruben Garrick, just helping him with his game. But, as a player and, a fan of Manly, you just don't get to see the best player on the field week in, week out. And it's just a huge letdown for a fan of the club.
Well, it's not even the fan of the club. Like, even Maroon said he was hurt. Like, obviously, no Tommy through playing with him.
Yeah.
But even the neutrals, I think.
Oh, it's like Nico Hines going down. He just shattered.
He's a champion player. We know what he can do on the field when he's fully fit. And we know he has had his injuries issues. And he gets to a point where, unless you're playing against Manly and Tommy Turbo's tearing you, if you're an NRL fan, you like to see what he can do on the field because he's one of those players that has a very unique skill set and not many people can do what he do. And the NRL's better for it when Tommy's 100%.
I think, Wado, he's one of the good guys in the NRL.
Yeah.
Like, he's never had a stuff up, other than having a run down the Manly Corso after a couple of years, but that's nothing bad. Like, he's never brought the game into, disrepute. He's always been one of the good guys. The fans love him, like you said. And just the last, I think it's probably the 18 months, just he can't take a trick at the moment with all the soft tissue injuries. Just poor kid at the moment.
You know what we've seen, though, let's say Sean Timmins, I'm going back a long way.
One of the greats.
Anthony Minicello, Scott Prince. There's just 3 blokes who had terrible runs with injury. And then they come back. Yeah. And in the case of Mini, or the case of Scott Prince, come back and win a premiership.
Yeah, but even you think about Benji at the start of his
career.
JT had all his shoulder issues. It's just, unfortunately, it's a part of sport in general. But our game, our game can be soft. Like, we're talking about soft tissues here, but sometimes our games, it's hard. Your body just breaks because of the contact and collision and the wear and tear.
It's not so much the game day, but it's just the training load, isn't it? It's like the preseason is the hardest part about the NRL.
Yeah, but the thing is, you need to train that hard and you need to condition your body because you're trying to prepare yourself to get through. Yeah, how long do we play for? 6-7 months. So
27 rounds now.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
And then the finals.
And then the finals, yeah. And these blokes are playing World Cups or Four Nations as well, and then you chuck in Origin in between.
So sport, it can be cruel sometimes with injuries. It is a part of your job. It is a part of the job sometimes. But when someone goes on a run like this, and I think it's brought to the other thing to talk about with sport and with rugby league, and Turbo's such a high profile player that we all notice it and worry about it. But mate, you the amount of young kids who have been crawled by injuries just to have injury after injury.
The ones you don't see, but
the ones no one ever hears about that have been in squads of young, most talented kids, but their body just lets them down, and all of a sudden, instead of being 18 and 19 and being the next one off the rank, you might be 23, 24, but they're looking at the 18-year-old, the new 18-year-old who's just hasn't had the track record, and that's the brutal part of sport and opportunity and timing. It's such a hard it's a hard dream and a hard reality to chase because injuries and luck do play a big part in whether you get an opportunity or not.
And the other thing, people only see what he does for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, they don't see what he has to do for his body, the sacrifices he has to give up. Like, mate, he hasn't drank during the season, Tommy. So he hasn't had a beer since, I think, February. And there's times where there's moments in his life where he's got a birthday party, a wedding. He can't go to those. He doesn't commit to that because he's got to get himself right. And he's the first one at training every day. He's going through all these.
Well, he beats you.
Yeah, he just.
I find that hard to believe.
But I've got a coffee. I'm chewing the fat.
You're going in there to avoid your wife, really, not to do extras. Mate,
We can't let that get out on the podcast. You'll kill me.
Cronulla Sharks, how long I've been there? 13 years, right? And I'm not saying I'm always first, but I'm in the top 3 there like all the time, usually first for 13 years. Except when Woodsy was at the club. He was the only one that beat me.
Preparation's key, boys.
He was the only
You've got to
one.
be there early. Yeah. But like the things he would do, like he went obviously to Philadelphia, did all those stuff with that Knowles bloke, and he's brought him back. He's just, mate, you always see him in the gym just doing the funny stretches and on the machines, and just poor time for the big fella. Just the amount he puts into his body, he just hasn't got it back yet.
You're talking about players, like you were saying, they get injured at 18, 19, 20, and a couple of blokes come to mind, and you might have played with a couple of them, Woodsy.
Yep.
Taniela Tuiaki.
Oh, poor bloke, yeah.
We never saw again.
You know what the worst thing about him was, Maroon? He was having an absolute stormer of the year. He was just about to re-sign on huge money, and then he got that injury, and they're like, we'll just see how he comes back from it.
Yeah, and then we had the winger from the Broncos. Remember?
Yeah.
He could have been anything, couldn't he? He was playing.
He's already playing.
Australia and Queensland at 18, 19.
That's amazing.
But there's stories, Maroon.
Connor Tracy. People don't know what Connor Tracy's been through, Wado.
From, you start probably playing the elite junior reps at 16, 17, 18, and the best kids get fast-tracked into the top squads and training squads and development contracts now, and you can see some kids, most talented kids, and they work hard and they're diligent and they chase the dream, but, a couple of injuries, couple of setbacks, an ACL or a shoulder reco, and like I said, that 18-year-old kid, all of a sudden becomes a 21 or 22-year-old, but there's also other 18-year-old kids now to compete against. So that's the harsh reality of the sport and limited opportunities, and it's a high-performance environment, and that's what sport is. But the stories we see, profile brought to, and the feelings that fans and supporters generate for their favourite players are people we see in the squads year after year after year, and it's a hard reality of sport.
You might remember, he might be your age, but do you remember Travis Roach?
Yeah, Roach.
He was like Australian schoolboy, unbelievable.
So he got picked in the 15s merit team when he was 14.
Yeah, he was an absolute freak, and he had like 3 or 4 knee recos, and when I was at the Dragons, when we went back to reserve grade, he's a strength conditioner down there now. And, like, I said to all these kids, mate, do you ever see this bloke play? Like, he was one of the great players.
Well, one of my best mates growing up, Greggy Waddell.
Fullback, yeah. Oh, Greggy Waddell, he signed a huge contract as well. And there's just these, they try to keep him around the club, but then he's seen it all before. He can hardly, he can't run back-to-back days now because his knee's just that rattled from it. And, the club's tried to help him out, but, he's put a lot of effort into it. He's got his own degree and, I think it was strength conditioning. He does a lot of stuff, but like you said, he was the next big thing on the radar, and they had him all signed up, and he was going to be the fullback of the club long term, and then just got a couple of bad knees, and they just wipes you out.
All right. Well, I think on the back of all that, mate, I think Manly were like 1,000 to 1 to make the finals anyway, and now they've blown out to about 14,000.
Well, the funny thing is, you were just pumping up South Sydney all year, and then since you've had a couple of losses in the last couple of weeks, you've turned on them.
No, I would never.
You started invoicing for the pre-game entertainment.
Maybe they might if they get the compensation from the Turbo.
Yeah, we get a little bit of
maybe they have a crack at Brooksy early.
Yeah.
Oh, but no,
why not?
I think with the comments, you can only get a like for a like. You can't go for.
Okay.
So you can only go
just
for an
outside
outside
play
back.
him at fullback.
I said that to Siebes. He could be a roving. What is it? A roving little utility at the back.
The Tigers see him as a halfback, but we see him as a fullback.
Tigers can see anything from them.
Thank you, Woodsy.
Thank you, Maroon.
Are you calling for any footy this weekend?
I'm on Saturday. I think I'm with you again.
Oh, we missed you last weekend. We had a good fun though, didn't we, Wado?
It was fun. It was fun.
So we'll get you back this Saturday. Who's playing?
I think we've got Raiders and Titans.
Beautiful.
Hopefully you bring some of that cologne in for me to spray. Oh, I won't need to. I'll just sit next to you.
Mate, this is only, you've got to be a mature age gent.
What is it called? Old Spice?
I don't know what it's called. My wife, it's in a blue square bottle. My wife always gets it.
Is it true that you pour it out and water it down so you get more out of it? He would,
Mate,
too,
he would too. I actually thought it was Wendell's. I thought it was Wendell's perfume. It smells a bit like Wendell.
No, it's not Wendell. If he copies me, Wendell. So I hope you blokes, when you get to my age, you dress like I dress.
You
But
look,
right
you're,
now,
you're in good nick.
Thanks,
It's good to see you still wear the black skivvy from the Wiggles.
yeah.
Mate, I hope when I'm your age, I'm still getting freebies. Otherwise, I'll be wearing nothing.